Hey guys, Mighty Gazelle here to review Season 6 of My Hero Academia. It just ended a little over a week ago. I'm recording this on the Sunday following afterward. And what a great season it was. I think most of you agree that this is among the best seasons that My Hero has ever done. Um, Today I'm going to be doing a very casual review. I'm going to show some images. I'm going to talk about my favorite moments, some of my least favorite moments, and just kind of dissect the season as a whole. What do I think of it? And give a final score at the end. So sit back, relax, and maybe you'll agree with me. Maybe you won't, but I'll even say whether or not it was my favorite season overall. And yeah, just dive on in. Have a great time. I got some notes in front of me. And like I said, gonna put a lot of images on screen. Just casual, sit back, enjoy it, and yeah, let's dive on in. All right, like I said at the beginning, I think that most people can agree this season has been pretty much phenomenal. For everything from animation to the voice acting, just everything about this season felt like they really understood that they were adapting some of the best stuff My Hero has to offer. Which leads me to my first point. This season had extremely good content to adapt in the first place. It covers two arcs. First arc being the Paranormal Liberation War, which basically most people just call it the War or the First War. Um, and we have the Hero Hunt arc or Dark Deku arc, however you want to put it. Fans dub arcs a lot of different ways, but so basically the season covered two arcs. And I'll break them down one by one. I'll talk about the first arc first and then the second arc. But I think overall they just did a phenomenal job with both. Uh, but let's start with the first arc because the first arc is the one that I actually have uh, a few negatives to talk about. But I'll start with the pros. Some of the best animation the series has ever had came in this first arc. Uh, Everything from Mirko's fight against the Nomu, Dobby's not Dobby's dance. Again, the voice acting during Dobby's dance was so good. I watched the Japanese version for my reactions, but afterward I go back and watch the dub eventually on my own. And both versions throughout the whole season, not just this first war arc, were great. These actors really brought their A game, and you could tell that they have been in the groove long enough for these characters to really let them shine, and it was just so awesome. Um, but yeah, the animation that lives rent free in my mind is the scene where Mirko is done fighting the Nomu, and Endeavor comes to help her, and he's blasting one of the Nomu with fire, and you see Mirko get up and say, "I can keep fighting," but like that animation is so smooth, it is so great. To me, and not only that, but when she's about to kick down the containment container with shigaraki in it, all of it's just so great. We have Garaki's expression of terror. We have Endeavor being a badass fighting the Nomu. Just so many great things in the first half, animation wise. It just it's so good. It's not all perfect though. In fact, I actually will say that the only complaints I have in this entire season come from the first half. Particularly, I think that there is some inconsistent animation regarding Deku, Shigaraki, and Dabi. I'll put some images on the screen now. Like I said, for the most part, I think every character has fantastic animation, and all the choreographed fights are really good, except for I would argue the climax gets a little bit clunky. Um, in that sometimes you look at like some of the animation and be like, that didn't quite hit as much as I thought it would. As you guys know, I read the manga, and if I had one major complaint is that the Shigaraki Deku fight didn't make me feel as much as the manga did. And it's not that it was bad; it's definitely not bad, but compared to the rest of the season, it kind of stands out as being not quite as good. I'm sure a lot of you guys will disagree with me, but this was the only the climactic fight between Deku and Shigaraki, as well as the moment that Bakugo sacrificed himself, pushed Deku out of the way, and took the rivets. It didn't quite flow perfectly, if you ask me. There were moments that were really good. I liked the television segments where it shows them as kids and their past. I thought that was really well done. But I'm not sure if they just tried to squeeze too much into an episode. But all of a sudden, it just kind of cuts to Bakugo being stabbed, and it didn't really leave as much of an impact. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are like, "Oh, but you read the manga. Of course, it didn't read an impact. You knew it was coming." No, like you can still get emotional about things and moments that really are meant to be important. But I don't know. It just didn't really hit for me. And that's kind of a shame because it's a huge moment in this war. And so, yeah, the fight with Shigaraki and Deku, it didn't really have that impact, that punch that I was hoping it would from the manga. And then the Bakugo sacrifice didn't quite land it for me. And then the other little nitpick I kind of mentioned was there's some really strange animation moments for Dabi, especially when he's glowing blue like a Super Saiyan. Like the fire effect looked very weird to me. There's one frame of Dabi, much like the Mirko one, with how much I love it and how much it sticks in my mind. I just think about this specific Dabi frame, and I'm just like, man, he had both ends of the spectrum this season. He had moments of looking like a god, like absolutely amazing, and then you have stuff like this. And yeah, again, there's been much worse things in anime, as we all know. But these moments stick out to me as some of the only down spots in this season, honestly, because overall, I would give the first arc a 9 out of 10. I think that some very minor pacing issues and some moments of glaringly, like, not neglected animation, but just when you compare it to the heights that we got, they kind of stand out. So overall, I would give the first arc a 9 out of 10. A little bit of a side note, I love the intro and outro. The outro more so. The intro, I think, is a very solid intro. It's a little bit strange how happy it is, but other than that, I think the outro is my second favorite outro of the entire series in this first part, and I just wanted to mention that here in my notes. So yeah, that is the first arc that they covered in this season. That is the war arc. The second arc they covered, however you want to call this arc, Dark Deku arc, the Vigilante Deku arc, Hero Hunt arc, whatever. This, man, this arc was perfect. I have absolutely zero complaints. It has, in my opinion, the best intro and outro of the entire series. It takes some extremely emotional beats that we got in the manga. Everything from Deku slowly running himself ragged and All Might begging for him to come rest, from the students coming in to save him after he's basically become a feral beast, Bakugo's apology. We have Nagant, his fight with Lady Nagant. Oh my god, was that just incredible? I could go on and on. That this arc was already phenomenal in the manga. I said it at the very beginning. One of the strengths of this season is the adaptation of some incredibly solid groundwork for what to adapt. These two arcs are basically my favorite of the entire series, so perhaps I'm biased, but holy crap, this is just so good. It just really made you feel like you're experiencing it for the first time again, plus Ultra. I know it's corny, I'm sorry. But yeah, man, there's just so much, there's so many great things. And the visual representation of Deku, his sadness, his grief, and all the students, and just in Uraraka's speech. Are you kidding me? That was so good. It played out a little bit differently than I thought it would emotionally. In my mind, I pictured it more of a hectic, frantic thing of a back and forth between Uraraka and the angry mob, but they kind of went for more of a emotional, slower, like punchiness to it. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. It just subverted how I expected it to play out, but it was still really, really, really well done, and I have no complaints. And then we end off with Stain and All Might talk, which I love. Like it's so great. I'm a huge Stain fan. You guys know this, and he gives All Might the speech he needs to hear, and I just couldn't be happier. I think they did it really, really, really well. And then of course we get the teaser at the end with Star and Stripe, and I thought that was expertly well done. It just shows the iconic shot of her coming in on the jets, and what a great tease for the next season. This second arc, man, I can't give anything other than a 10 out of 10. I think that everything I could possibly wanted them to do in this arc, they did it. They did it perfectly. And yeah, again, no complaints, 10 out of 10. So, to recap everything I just said, I think the music, the voice acting, intros and outros were all perfect in this season. They were among the best of the best that the series has ever had, and absolutely no complaints. As for the arcs that they covered, first arc, they did a really, really good job, and that was my favorite arc in the manga. And outside of a few complaints, some pacing issues, some not so great animation, I think it was really, really well done. 9 out of 10 for the first arc. Second arc, 10 out of 10. Again, no complaints. I just have nothing but praise. This season was a love letter to My Hero, and you could tell they really cared. And it might just be the second to last season we ever get. So if you average out those two halves scores, you're left with a score from me at 9.5 out of 10. Now, the question is it my favorite season ever of My Hero? I have thought about this. This is not an easy question to answer. I've gone back and forth between this and season 2. And in the off time, I actually went back and watched a lot of season 2. And some of you might be shocked for me to hear this, but no. Season 6 is not my favorite season. You could argue it's the best season on some accounts, and I love it. I love it to death. It's definitely my second favorite season, but I think season 2 is still GOAT in my eyes. Just watching Deku versus Todoroki, there's something magical there, man. Like, the way that they brought that to life, the emotion, the expression, and then you have Ida versus Stain, as well as Deku and Todoroki. The tournament in general was just so freaking amazing. I even love the stuff afterward with the student exams against the teachers, and of course you end with the amazing setting with Deku and Shigaraki at the mall. Like, man, all that stuff to me is just so perfect. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "Man, boo! You just got nostalgia goggles on." Like, you should just call this new season the best one. I love this new season. I think they knocked it out of the park. They did a great job. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. But I think season 2 is still my favorite. You can make the argument that 6 is better, like fundamentally and maybe production wise. But I could also make the argument against that. Like the season 2 is the best one production wise. I just think that season 2 is such a perfect a culmination of so much talent all brought together. I don't know. My opinion of this might change in a month or two. I don't know. But as it stands right now, I think season 2 is still my favorite. And yeah, that's all I got to say about season 6. It was phenomenal. I loved it. I'm sad it's over. And I can only hope that the final season, season 7, we assume it's the final season. We don't know for sure, but pretty much it will be. We can only hope if season 7 at least is as good as season 6, I'll be happy. That said, with it being the last one, probably, I hope they just almost like make it like movie quality. That would be awesome. We'll see how it all goes. We have time to speculate and wait for it. So, but yeah, that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed my review and leave your thoughts down below. How would you grade it? What is your favorite season? And yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in to watch my reactions. I had a very successful season in terms of views and growth and stuff like that. I think I gained like maybe 1,000 people in this season. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, obviously stay tuned for season 7 review reactions and all the remaining chapter reactions I have left of the series, because we're nearing the end and I'm very sad, but I'd say we got a good 20-25 chapters left, so not quite over yet. All right, hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, this has been Mighty Gazelle, hoping you all have a mighty day. See you guys.